There once was a village, bereft of all joy, a place where they put all the bad girls and boys. Kids enter the system like this one, named John. They double-checked records, they never were wrong. They put John in prison. They called it a room. He wept as they left him and slept night till noon. "Why didn't you wake me?" he asked the mom guard. Wake yourself. Now your life's hard." John went to the counter, poured milk on his cereal, and scratched while he ate from the itchy material. "My clothes are all itchy. How come they're not soft?" "Next time, do the laundry. It's your mother's night off." Now Johnny was moping, but it wasn't that bad, and then he had hope. "I'll go call my dad." As John stood in line, the horde and staff snickered. "I'm John, call my father. His name is Bill Sigurd." The phone clerk then laughed. "Oh, you think you're important? That man put you here. Your father's the warden." John couldn't believe it. The warden, his dad. "Say, what'd you do to make you go bad?" John couldn't remember. Then he started to stutter. "I think my mom told me to please pass the butter." They stared in amazement. "Well, that's not enough. To get put in here, you gotta do something rough." "But I gotta go home. My birthday is near. December 25th, and I can't spend it here." "No birthdays or holidays. Them's in the rules. But no listening to teachers, 'cause they ain't got no schools. My name is Nick. It ain't all that bad. We call this place Sigurdton, named after your dad." "Am I being punished 'cause of something I did?" "It's not any one thing. You're just a bad kid. But hey, such is life. You're stuck on this earth. You're free from your family. They've held you down since birth." Just then John remembered that moment of fate. He's sitting at dinner. He won't clean his plate. "Eat all your broccoli," he heard his mom say, "and the peas and the carrots, or there you will stay." When dinner was finished, they examined his dish. "Eat all your veggies." "I'll do as I wish." "You'll sit at this table and eat every bite if it takes you an hour or even all night." "You can't make me do it. This food tastes like crap." His parents were startled and gave him a slap. His father looked angry. "The next one's a belt." John's face felt so hot he thought he would melt. He wanted to cry, but held back his tears. He'd sit there for hours, for weeks, or for years. John was resolved. "I'll do this I can. I'm 7.5. Practically a man." John stared at his food and pushed it around and made it make faces and stared at the ground. He shifted in place, his muscles would burn, and then genius struck him. His mom has a fern. He edged his chair over and started to dump all the food from his plate, then stopped. Then he slumped. "If my plate is empty, they'll think that they've won. They must know I've beat them, or all is for none." He took back his plate and sat the whole night. He woke up in bed, refreshed by the light. "I did it! I did it!" he screamed and he cried. "I beat my own parents!" he sang out in pride. He cooked the old witch. He Gretel and Hanseled. Then Dad sternly said, "Son, Christmas is canceled." "That's also my birthday. You can't take that one too." "Son, you just watch me." There was nothing to do. John was mad at his parents. He swore and he cussed. "I'm running away. I'll do what I must." "You can't leave the house. A young boy needs rules. To be happy in life, you must have the tools." "But you make me unhappy. That don't make no sense." "John, watch your grammar. Use past perfect tense." John cried in his room and took a mad nap. When he woke up, he felt a large strap. He struggled in bed, but was tied to the rails. He was being wheeled out to a van marked Kid Jails. "That's all I remember," he told Nick, his friend. "Well, forget about that. That life's at an end. We're on our own now. We do as we please." "But who packs your lunches and kisses scraped knees?" That stuff's for babies. We're men. We're not boys." "But I miss my family and playing with toys." "No toys in Sigurdton. Just clear out your head. If they catch you playing, you'd wish you were dead." there's a toy factory. It's right over there. That factory's for work. Don't play. Don't you dare. So Johnny and Nick then walked off to work. Nick was a filer and John was a clerk. The factory was huge, toys of all kinds, hovering skateboards, toys that read minds. There was Play-Doh and dollies, video games in the rear. There were toys you could eat and stick in your ear. But nothing for Johnny. No ride in the teacup. He got what he wanted. He now was a grown-up. The first day was over, and then came the second, then the third and the fourth. It's just life, I reckon. He forgot about birthdays and corn on the cob and 4th of July. He just had his job. 12 months went by, and he started to bore, and he started to think, what are all these toys for? He then called his boss, and Nick did the same, but nobody told them. They just got a name. Mary Kid's Mouth, they called her. Kids can be cruel. Head like a baby, they teased her in school. So when she grew up, she swore she'd be rich. She worked really hard, became a big bitch. You're now on my list, she'd say if you crossed her. The title said shit at the top of her roster. She started a business of making toy dolls. She called it Megatronics, which takes great big balls. But soon her small business would outgrow its name. She tripled her storefronts. They all looked the same. This is Mega House 1, and that one is 2, and in Mega House 3 we had you-know-who. Now Mary was rich, but she just couldn't care. She was working so hard she had no time to spare. Soon mega malls spread all over the land, selling toys to all parents, money fist over hand. But they ran short on toys at the start of flu season. We can't run out now. Folks buy toys for a reason. When the kids are all sick, they're grumpy and mean, so parents buy toys to keep their guilt clean. Then Mary was struck by a brilliant idea. We run out of toys, though we make them all year. No toys for workers. No games shall be played. The toys are for kids, so by kids they'll be made. So she went to each village, asked the parents at night, I just need some children. I'll take the bad ones, all right? Soon she built up an army of workers in force. She fed them and clothed them, like the law said, of course. But she gave them no more, no love or affection. And the kids just worked harder, like natural selection. Now, that is the story that Nick and John heard. It's true, for the most part. Almost every word. So John and Nick plotted to try to remember what makes life worth living on this cold, dark December. I think I was wishing for some place or something. We put trees on our doors. One was shaped like a ring. Trees? Are you crazy? Let's grab all the toys and then throw a party where girls kiss the boys. You lost me at kissing. Let's start with the toys. What's the matter, teased Nick? You'd rather kiss boys? John and Nick laughed and taunted and brayed. They weren't being mean. That's just how boys played. They went to the factory and pried off the door and stood back in shock. There were presents galore. Presents with ribbons, presents with bows, presents that rattled with what? No one knows. They ran towards the boxes and jumped in the piles and ripped open presents that went on for miles. They tore open boxes and opened each one. They sat and they waited. Okay, where's the fun? They looked at the labels. The batteries were suited. What the box should have said was, fun not included. They opened more toys, each better than the last, but they still weren't happy. They were learning that fast. You shouldn't be in here. An old voice then creaked. His throat sounded sore, like a tire that leaked. These toys are no fun, Nick said to the man. Didn't say that they were. Now what's your big plan? But we never get toys. We never have fun. I know it's here somewhere. I'll take every one. Nick, you've been selfish. You just think of yourself. That's why you don't grow. You're as tall as an elf." Nick heard this and cried. He's touchy with height. He dreamt about flying over people at night. But John was just staring. Who is this old geezer? For some reason I see him next to my freezer. My freezer, he thought, with the paper stuck to it. And a star on the paper. I remember, I knew it. The feelings rushed to him, both angry and glad. He stood there just frozen. This man is my dad. All the thoughts in his head, but he couldn't say one. All that came out instead was, "How come they're no fun?" Your life is your gift. It's in how you live. A gift's not a gift without someone who gives. Now Nick came to John. "I'm outie. This blows." But John had a plan and tapped on his nose. John picked up a box. Nick made a grimace. "It's not even from you." "No, it's from Mary Kidsmith." Now, of course, Nick knew better than to believe in this fable, but John filled the names right out on the label. And then something happened to this lost boy so tragic. Nick's face just lit up, as if powered by magic. But what's more amazing that I wish you could see, John was now beaming. To give gave him glee. Now Nick grabbed the gift and ran back to John to see what this feeling that John was now on. "Stop. I must stop you," the old man exclaimed. "The gift that's for John comes here, bearing my name. John, come here, son. This is your last shift. But before you can leave, you must choose one last gift. You can choose to go back and eat all your peas, and stay with your family if that's what you please. You can choose to close Megatown and burn all the toys and turn all the workers back to good girls and boys, or give me my freedom to sit and to rest, or wish for a race car. Do what you think's best." So John closed his eyes and squeezed them real tight and furrowed his brow and wished all his might. "What did you wish for?" asked Nick with a squeak. "Let's go outside." So they ran for a peek. But the presents then rattled and wrapped themselves back and started a pile, stack upon stack. "These toys are for Megatown, and cookies and cake. They all deserve joy, for Mary Kidsmith's sake. I'll do it, I'll give 'em all out." But when Nick passed out presents, he would giggle and shout. He laughed and ate cookies, and so did the town. "Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!" was the eponymous sound. So Nick took upon him this joyous of tasks to give out the presents, though nobody asked. And John was now happy for everyone else. There was joy to be had, but not for himself. He was angry and sad and more stuff inside. He missed a year of his life because of his pride. So his father came to him. He looked at him. He knew. He didn't need it explained because that's what dads do. "You made a good wish." There's laughter out loud, but more than all this, you've made me feel proud. A pride that is good and not stubborn or mulish, a pride that means something and not childish or foolish. But if there's a wish more precious than gold that you kept to yourself and could never be told, do you know what it'd be? Do you know what you'd say if you got one more wish? 'Cause today's your birthday. John looked up in awe. His jaw dropped down south. "I know what I want," but Dad covered his mouth. "The next wish is secret, and it's only for you if you tell just a soul your wish can't come true. John then took a second for the prisoners in Sigerton, who from this day forth have Christmas in Megatown. He grabbed one last look, lit by candlelight, and took one big breath, and wished all his might.